Welcome into the Wacky Dynasty Podcast. I'm your host, the Big L, joined today with my co-host,
Zach Jones. Let's get right into the recap.
Big week of football this week. Not as many players getting injured, but we had some fun. We had some goofs. We had some gaffs, and yeah. Well, let's take a look if my computer will work. Oh my goodness. Let's get a look at the week 3 recap. So first game, me and Cade lost an absolute
Classic.
heartbreaker.
This is a classic. This is one that'll show on TV again as a rerun.
Now, up there, I see you put fraud alerts.
Yeah.
Is that you calling? Are you calling Jawan Jennings a fraud, or are you calling Cade a fraud?
It's up to interpretation.
That's just like any good art. So some highlights. Olave actually did something. Got a touchdown.
Nice.
Mark Andrews, he kind of sucks.
Yikes.
I don't know. He don't know what else to say.
He's you traded for him, right?
Yeah, actually a big trade. Almost outscored the guy I traded him for. And then the big one on my team was Jawan Jennings scoring 46.5. He looked all right.
He looked pretty good.
On Cade's side, I would say it's pretty standard stuff, honestly. This is like what his team can usually do.
Without Pacheco, though. That's pretty huge.
Without Pacheco and CD, pretty bad. Rashad White looks like he's on his way out.
No Kittle either.
No Kittle.
Cade is kind of he's gone from wide receiver U to tight end U.
No. Other Cade's cousin Zach with a C, if you will. I think he's tight end U. We'll get to him. We'll get to him here in a second. Next up, we got you versus Tim. Now, last week you did mention a possible suspension for the player pictured on the right. And Tim, any word about that?
Yeah, I spoke with Josh Allen, and he said they were just a joke, so we're all good.
Any suspension for Tim?
No.
He did beat you.
Yeah, he beat me, but most teams would. He put up 150 points too. I can't take that away from him.
All right, fair enough. What do you want to say about your team? Anything? They're all hurt.
It's a dark time for Laporte Al-Gaib. But he's gonna I named my team Laporte Al-Gaib for a reason. He's our chosen one, the Messiah. When he's back, the team is back. And it's just a matter of time.
Couldn't agree more. On Tim's side, this is what his team can do. Josh, that's pretty standard, 30 points. Saquon, he's done it a few times this year. Derrick Henry's first huge game as a Raven. And Terry McLaurin actually caught a touchdown from his quarterback.
And Nico Collins is probably going to be better than 12.6 most weeks.
Yeah, most weeks he won't have to go against the vaunted Vikings.
Waddle just needs a Hawk Tua on that thing, and he'll be back.
Yeah, I'm moving on. It seems like we maybe got something wrong in these photos. The first one is the first one looks like some Rice. That could be Rashee Rice, who did score almost 30 points for Ian's squad.
That Rice looks pretty gross, though.
Yeah, I mean, so is Rashee Rice. He's gonna get arrested soon.
Yeah,
he's an absolute thug. And then on the right, I believe that man is wearing a chuba.
What?
And a chuba. And he's also wearing a sick hat.
Yeah, it is pretty sick.
A chuba, Zach, is a Tibetan robe, usually about ankle length, and as you can see, he's showing off a little more ankle today.
Okay.
But back to the game. Yeah, Ian's seen
He's
him.
wearing pants though.
Pants are optional. He's also wearing like a shirt. But regardless, Jalen Hurts, not too great. Brees and Kamara doing their thing. Devontae, meh. Other Devontae, he's going to be out maybe for another week. Who knows with that concussion? And at the bottom there, Aaron Jones and Rashee Rice come up huge for him.
Yeah, SKOL.
Cool indeed.
And then pretty respectable week from Garrett.
Very respectable week.
We had a Chuba game.
Huge Chuba game. Caleb didn't absolutely suck.
Isaiah Likely. Better than Mark Andrews.
Just barely. Diggs with a big game against the Vikings. Somehow had 10 receptions and only 94 yards. That's embarrassing. And yeah.
A point's a point, you know. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
No, it does not. All right, moving on to this third week. We got Paul versus Zack with a C. Yeah,
these pictures are pretty hostile.
Well, is Jameson Williams a fraud?
We'll see.
We shall see. I think Laporta being out will definitely help his case.
Laporta won't be out.
You think he's coming back right away?
He'll be back. It's a low ankle sprain. He's fine.
Fair enough.
And then not be very fast though.
He wasn't fast to begin with. If that makes you feel any better. And then on the other side, as you can see here, we have a quarterback who cannot throw a football.
He can throw it. He just not very accurately.
Yeah, he can throw it really far too. That's another big.
If it's a deep pass where he's getting sacked and should not be making any throw at all, then it's pretty good. But otherwise, yikes.
Just not a great showing from Zach's squad here, minus Jet. 20 is actually on the low end for Jet. Marv with a respectable game. And
Carson Steele had a promising game. He had 17 carries.
He did have 17 carries.
Couldn't get in the end zone.
I think they're going to need P. Ryan a little bit more, though, in the future. No bias. Moving on here to Chris and Aaron. Chris takes care of business, moves up to the 1 seed in this division. Huge games from Burrow and Chase. That stack finally comes alive. Neighbors looks like an absolute stud. He's getting every single target from Danny Dimes. Drake London with a pretty good game as well. Touchdown. And Charbonnet, whenever Ken Walker comes back, he'll be back to irrelevant. But for now, he's making the most of his time as a starter.
He does not look great, but he's getting in the end zone, so
I'm the trash.
He looked good this game.
I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage, and then I pick up the trash can and I.
All right, and then on Aaron's side, we got the trash man, the garbage time merchant, who is Dak Prescott. It looked like they were out of their game, and then they just snuck back in there. And Dak, got all the work from then on. Threw it 51 times.
I don't know if I'd call it garbage time. I mean, they made it pretty close.
They did make it pretty freaking close. It shouldn't have been close.
Chris got 3.8 points from his starting running backs and still put up 138. That's pretty crazy.
That is insane. And Aaron, respectable games. Jacobs, one of his worst games of the season. Najee, Kincaid, doing good. Zay, a little disappointing, but like we said earlier, they were up like 28-3 or something ridiculous, and didn't really need to throw the ball much. DJ Moore with a pretty good game too. A-Chain is going to be scary without a competent quarterback, and JT with a huge game.
Tua going out sent shockwaves throughout the NFL. I guess mostly just for the Dolphins, but for our league, it was much bigger.
In the Wacky Dynasty, it was huge. Couldn't agree more. Whoa. All right, we got week 4 waiver wire. Whoa. Okay. So some free agent signings. There wasn't much great on the waiver wire this week. Paul signs Tyler Batty. I think it's actually like Bidet or something.
Batty is cooler though.
Yeah, let's call him Batty. Tyler Batty dropped the Gus bus.
Gus Bus is out of gas.
It is out of gas. Aaron picks up Emmanuel Wilson, dropped Deonta Foreman.
Gross.
And Kate picks up Eric All for $0, dropped Marvin Mims. Paul also put in a bid on him, but I guess was behind Kate in the waivers.
Every team in the league should have put a bid on him. He's a stud.
Tight end you.
I've never heard of that guy in my life.
I believe he is the Bengals rookie tight end, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
And then later on, Garrett dropped Elijah Moore. And I did not add this photo. Can you explain this photo at all?
I didn't. I thought you added it.
And the mystery lives on. You definitely put in these slide transitions.
I may have done that. I don't remember doing it though.
So some trades. Me and you. Can you believe it? The two co-hosts make a deal.
Yeah, it's maybe the most blockbuster trade
I was sweating
ever conducted.
I was sweating.
RB2 for Dallas and a 3rd round pick next year.
Yes.
For a flat receiver with a shitty ass quarterback.
With an awful quarterback. There he is dancing in the middle. Yeah, I mean, what I said to myself was I just need a little bit of Rico, 3rd round pick, and a little bit of love. That's all you need.
The Rico Zeke stack is going to be huge. You could probably start them both.
That's what I'm planning on doing next week. I think there was maybe another trade. Oh, right. I will say people have been anticipating this episode specifically because of this trade. They knew we were going to address it, talk about it. So I think it's time. No Romo, dude perfect, make a quote-unquote trade. Garrett sends Cooper Kupp and his 2025 second-round pick to Ian for Jacoby Myers and Ian's 2025 first-round pick. Any initial thoughts?
Well, Ian is the 1 seed right now, and Garrett's in last place, meaning the picks will likely be 1 pick apart.
Interesting. But did you miss Cooper Kupp for Jacoby Myers?
That's the interesting part. Cooper Kupp had 21 targets in week 1, and he's not even on the IR. Like, he'll be back pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, they don't anticipating it be too long. Yeah, I was upset with this trade for the exact reasons you brought up about the picks being probably pretty close to each other, barring like major fall off, or maybe Garrett really turns it around and does something, makes the playoffs maybe.
Well, here's my fan fiction that I've created.
Okay,
Cooper Kupp comes back. He's never the same. The ankle injury, it ends his career.
Dang.
And the Raiders trade Devontae Adams, making Jacoby Myers the number 1, and he's better than Adams ever was as a Raider or a Packer.
That's some good fanfic right there. I like that.
It's possible.
It's in the realm of possibility. Before we move on, I'm going to play the sound a little bit. All right, that was enough of that. I don't care about the sounds right now. I'm just mad. Let's move on to the power rankings. I don't really have too much to add.
Pretty sick.
Power rankings are dumb. At least they got me as rebuilding instead of fraud or whatever. I appreciate that.
Well, you were a fraud, and Garrett was trust the process, but he's moved up to match you. So now you're both rebuilding.
That must be because of the Cooper Cup, Jacoby Myers swap.
I think it's because of the Rico Dowdle, Christian Kirk swap. You moved down.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's good because I didn't want to be a fraud. I would rather be rebuilding. Some things that stick out to me. Pepster 18 is a contender, but he is 0-3. It's a rough start, but definitely can make the playoffs. I mean, he's had some tough opponents right away. 0-3 ain't nothing. You got to be top 6 to make the playoffs. So I see some brighter days in his future. And then the other thing that stands out to me is the Zach with a C at 3-0. Dynasty Daddy does not think he should be 3-0. And I would argue maybe he's gotten a little lucky playing me week 1 and then Paul this last week. He did take you down, though.
We also have a 3-0 versus 0-3 matchup this week. He plays Garrett. Zach could very well be 4-0.
Zach could be 4-0 in the 1 seed in the league.
Pretty huge. I mean, right now he's undefeated, and Chris is first in his division. What a turnaround from the 1-2 picks in the draft to 1-2 in the standings.
It was hard to mess up those early picks, and yet someone found a way.
Come on.
Moving on here. Week 4 predictions, baby.
It's been 3 weeks. Give it a second.
Sorry, I may be being a little mean at the moment. Week 4 predictions. Me v Ian. Who you got?
Ian.
You
Pretty
fucking
easily.
bastard.
What?
How could you say that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I actually have Ian winning as well. Versus. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We both picked Aaron over myself.
Suck it.
I'm starting the B squad. Everybody's hurt. It's kind of stinky.
And like the Bengals last week needed a win against the Commanders, Aaron needs a win against you because he is 0-3.
Don't ever compare me to the Commanders again.
Zach and Garrett. We both took Zach. Starting out 4-0. Maybe.
We'll see. I mean, Garrett outscored him last week.
He did indeed.
Another Chuba game. Things could get interesting.
Things could get very, very interesting. We got Paul versus Tim. We both picked Paul.
This is America's game of the week.
I would agree. It's the one I'm most... Well, Chris and Kate is a pretty good game, too. I want to see if Chris's team is for real.
Well, you should wait till he plays somebody good then.
Good point. Back to Paul and Tim. Nothing much to say. They made a big trade earlier. Unfortunately for Tim, that won't help him this week. And on to Chris versus Cade. I got Cade. You got Chris. You think he's going to continue the hot start?
I do. I think Cade's team is crumbling in front of our eyes. And it's going downhill fast.
Dang. I believe that is because of management, not too much the players.
Yeah, there might be a change in ownership coming up if this continues. The fans are getting restless.
Oh no, dude! I didn't hear about that. Yeah, I will say it has been brought up many a times before that Cade is the John Fisher of this league. Everyone hates him. Stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So I believe that is it for the podcast. Any parting messages for the fans out there?
Nah.
Well, there's a slogan on the next slide. Will you read it for us before I start playing the hamster dance song?
Of course.
All right. And with that, I'm out. Have a good weekend, everyone. Good luck.
And remember, if she don't hawk to I don't want to talk to her.